Welcome to Dano on the Counter. On today's show, we're going to make a quick and easy chocolate cake.
Mouth-watering family recipes, easy-to-make meals, humor and faith fill the inspiring show Dano on the Counter. Born with only half a spine, Dan Burkhart was never supposed to hold his head up. Despite countless surgeries, a stroke, leg amputations, and kidney transplants, Dano developed a contagious love for life. Join Dano on the Counter as he shares his easy-to-make dishes and a hope that keeps him pushing forward.
For a quick and easy chocolate cake, you're going to need 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of espresso powder, 1 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of oil, 2 large eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 cup of boiling water. For the frosting, you're going to need 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, 1/4 cup of butter, 2.5 cups of confectioner sugar, 1/4 cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1/4 teaspoon of espresso powder. Hey y'all, so we're embarking on another season of Dano on the Counter. Just so excited to be with everybody again. I know had a little bit of time off there, but we're back here in the fall, the end of August here, and beautiful foggy day here in central PA. 60 degrees out, which is perfect because you know what time it is. It's almost time for football season, getting ready for fall, and this is my favorite time of year, and hopefully going to share with you guys some awesome recipes that you can cook at home, and those kind of cozy meals that everybody enjoys this time of year when it starts to cool off. And but I know that in fall everybody likes those meals that you can kind of cook up quick because the kids are back in school and there's a lot going on activities wise and things like that, so there's not a whole lot of time to prep and things like that. So hopefully we'll share with you some easy quick meals that take only about 30 minutes or so to cook, and everybody can get those done on as soon as they get home from work and school and everything like that. My favorite part of the year obviously is fall because of football season. Excited about the Penn State football season coming up. Lots of hype again this year, but it seems like there's hype every year for our football team, and we'll wait and see. Had a really good season last year. Didn't make it as far as we all wanted to, but looking forward to what our quarterback can do this year, and some tough games out in Columbus, and we have Oregon at home this year. I'll be at both those games, so very fortunate to be able to go to those, and excited to root on my Nittany Lions, and hopefully make it all the way, I believe, to Miami next year. So we'll hope we hang in there, beat the teams we need to beat, throw the ball downfield, and see what happens. All right, so our first recipe is we're gonna make a simple 13x9 chocolate cake. Something real easy, something you're gonna whip up in about 20 minutes, and it's pretty much all in one aisle. So we're gonna head over to the baked goods aisle or baking aisle that has the oil and flour and all that in it. So we'll head over there and grab our ingredients. First thing we're gonna do is gonna grab some espresso powder. This is something that's gonna add that little extra richness in your chocolate cake. Kind of brings out that coffee but chocolate flavor, just adds that extra dark almost to it. But of course we're gonna add a ton of sugar to it anyway, so it's gonna be nice and sweet. But it's just kind of that thing that everybody's like, oh, what's that in that cake? And that's espresso powder. All right, next thing we need, obviously, if we're gonna make chocolate cake, is we need some cocoa. So we have some just baking cocoa here, unsweetened, because we're gonna add a ton of sugar to our cake as well. So we'll grab this. We just need about a cup of this. Next thing you need, obviously, is some AP flour. Can't make a cake without flour. Guess you could make a flourless chocolate cake, which is actually basically chocolate fudge. But so we'll grab some flour. We're gonna need about 2 cups of this. And then we'll grab some oil, and then we'll need some vanilla extract and some eggs. So grab our flour. We'll just need a couple teaspoons of vanilla extract. This stuff for some reason is like $1 million, but you do need just a little bit of it. You could use vanilla bean if you want and make your own, but just a little thing like this is like almost $10. It's crazy, but we'll grab this because we'll need this for our cake as well. Throw that in our cart. Right here, we'll just need a little bit of vegetable oil as well, just a couple tablespoons of that as well. Whatever you have at the house is fine. We'll use some regular canola. You can use olive oil if you want, whatever you have in the house. All right, next thing we need is just need two large eggs. So we'll grab a carton. Always gotta check them, make sure they're not hatching or they're broken or spoiled. So we'll grab these. A couple of those. Next thing we'll need is just a little bit of buttermilk as well. So we'll head over to the dairy section. Next thing you need is about a cup of buttermilk. This is gonna add just a little bit of tanginess to it a little bit. You could use whole milk if you wanted to. This particular recipe calls for buttermilk. I love it in dressings and all that. Ranch dressing, buttermilk, any of those type of things. Even cookies sometimes use buttermilk. Just adds a little bit extra flavor. It's light, so we'll add some buttermilk. Throw it in the cart. All right, looks like we have everything that we need. So we're gonna check out and then we're gonna head to the house and start cooking.
Dick's Home Care installs Bruno stair lifts, giving you your independence back. Pets are a part of the family, and they can be pretty smart. This dog knows the Bruno stair lift has a comfortable ride and is very safe and reliable. He watches his family using it, and they love it. Yes, this is a very smart dog. Bruno stair lifts, used by the whole family. Call the leader in home health care equipment, Dick's Home Care.
Hey y'all, welcome to my kitchen today. Today we're gonna make a quick and easy chocolate cake. Now, if you're like me, most of my chocolate cakes in the past that I've made have been from the store in the box, where I'm adding just oil and eggs in a bowl, whipping it together, and throwing it in a baking dish and putting it in the oven. Today we're gonna attempt to make a chocolate cake from scratch. Something that my mom used to always bake for me for birthdays and special occasions, but I've never really made one myself from scratch like this, so we're gonna try to do that here for you today. It's only a few ingredients, but we're gonna start with our dry ingredients first with our flour. We have about a cup and a half of flour in our handy dandy KitchenAid mixer, and we're just gonna add our other dry ingredients to that. We're gonna lock this in place here. So we have our flour, and then we have our baking powder, a couple tablespoons of that, and then to that we're gonna add our baking soda. And that baking powder, I tell you what, that's gonna make that cake rise, and so that it's not a chocolate cookie per se. You want that flour and all that to react with the baking powder so that it'll puff up and make it a light and fluffy cake. Otherwise, like I said, you'll end up with a chocolate crispy cookie, and you don't really want that. So we'll just start on low here and just kind of combine the ingredients there. To that, we're also going to add just like a pinch of salt, just about a half a teaspoon of salt to that as well. And then of course we're going to have our cocoa powder. Now this has actually kind of been hard to find in the grocery stores, but we were able to get some the other day. But this is obviously the main ingredient when you're making a chocolate cake, is you got to have the cocoa. So, but we went with an unsweetened cocoa here because this is all the sugar we're going to add into the cake. So this is definitely going to be a sweet cake. And if you're watching your calories, this is not really the dessert for you. But hey, you only live once, right? So we'll slowly just add a little bit of the cocoa in there. Also, to this, for the wet ingredients, we're going to add a cup of boiling water. So I just have a small saucepan here that I have a cup of water in. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on, let that heat up as well. It's going to add the more moisture to the cake. One of the last dry ingredients here is just a little bit of espresso powder. When we went to the store, I was talking about how this kind of adds to the richness of the chocolate, and it kind of just gives you that little flavor that you're like, oh, what's in that cake? You know, it goes really well with the chocolate. If you've had mochas and all those lattes that you can get at all the coffee shops that are probably not the best for you because they get all the sugar and everything. They're almost like chocolate milkshakes. But this is going to add that coffee flavor into that and just kind of add that little kick to that to the cake. And then we're going to add our sugar. Lots of sugar. All right, the next thing we're going to do is just add our wet ingredients to this. We have about a cup of milk that we're going to add. And then we have 2 eggs that we're going to add as well. And I'm just going to whisk those up real quick. You could just crack them in there if you want, but this goes a little bit faster if you kind of whisk them up a little bit before you drop them in. So we'll slowly add that in there as well. And we'll just add our eggs. And you can see that's all combining there pretty well. Now a lot of people, I know it's got raw egg in it, but a lot of people love this flavor here, that cake batter. Everybody kind of enjoys that. I know people eat it with ice cream and like it in their blizzards and things like that, but as you can see with the overhead shot here, it's really combining really well. Now to that, we're just going to add our boiling water, our last little bit of moisture here. I'm going to turn that off just to add a little bit at a time here. Not to splash it all over yourself. You don't want to get hurt, and you also don't want to make scrambled eggs. We'll just continue to mix that all together there. That'll combine all there. I think I got all of our ingredients there. Now this is just a regular 13 by 9 pan that I'm going to treat with just a little bit of cooking spray. And you could use oil if you wanted to, or butter, whatever you have available to you, but I'm just going to add just a little bit. That way the cake doesn't stick. Now I preheated my oven to 350, and this is going to go for about 30-35 minutes. You're going to check it at 30 minutes and with a toothpick and see if it comes out clean. If it does, obviously it's done. If it comes out wet and it's sticking to the toothpick, then you know it's not done yet. So this looks pretty good. We'll turn that off. Unlock our mixer here. Let that drain off for a little bit, and then we'll pour it into our pan here. All right. Let's see, that looks pretty good. Let's coat the bottom of that pan. And then we're going to throw this in the oven and let this cook, like I said, for about 30-35 minutes. We'll be back to check on how it turns out. All right, so we have our cake in the oven here, and now we're going to work on our chocolate frosting. What I have here is about 12 teaspoons of butter that I've let sit out and soften to about room temperature. And I'm going to put it back in our mixer here and just kind of whisk that a little bit. And that's going to just kind of come together and get soft. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla. That's that high-priced vanilla that everybody uses. That's I don't know why it's expensive, but it is. But And then to that, I'm going to add, this is about 1.5 cups of confectioner's sugar. This is the real sweetness. Like I said earlier, we had all that sugar in the cake, and now we're adding more sugar into our frosting here. Dump that all in there. And then, of course, we need our cocoa powder to make it chocolate frosting. So about 1/2 cup of cocoa powder there. I'm also going to add then 1/4 cup of milk. And if it gets too dry, you can always add more milk. If it's too wet, you can add more sugar. So that's kind of the trick to this. But we're going to start with about 1/4 cup of milk. That's looking pretty good. The last thing we're going to do then is add a little bit more of that espresso powder just to tie the two flavors together. This is just a 1/4 teaspoon, just so the frosting and the cake kind of go together. Add that in there. And we're going to turn this up even higher because we really want it to mix well and become really rich and creamy. You can see those last bits of butter came off the whisk there. So we probably ended up adding about 1/2 cup of milk total, but just kind of eyeball it. And once you put this back in the refrigerator after the cake is cooled, it'll really kind of stiffen up with the butter getting cold again and the milk. You could use heavy cream if you wanted here, if you want it even richer. We're just using a 2% milk because we already have enough fat in this thing already. Now we're just waiting for our cake to finish. When we pull our cake out of the oven, we're going to let it cool for about 10-15 minutes. And then we'll spread our frosting on there. And then I like my cake cold, so I'll put it in the fridge. And then we'll serve it up. So I'm going to combine all these things, let our cake cool, and then we'll dress our cake. And in the meantime, we'll head over to the studio for a little inspirational message.
For generations, Dick's Home Care has been providing the best equipment and service for patient care at home. Stay in your home without worry with Bruno mobility products from Dick's Home Care. Bruno has the highest rated stair lift of any brand. They're American-made quality stair lifts and are expertly installed in less than a day. Keep your loved one at home and safe from falls on the stairs with a Bruno stair lift. Call the leader in home medical equipment, Dick's Home Care.
Hey y'all, welcome into the studio. Today, I just want to talk to you a little bit about myself and who I am. If you're just joining us for the first time, I'm Dano Burkhart, and I have the honor to have this weekly television show to share with you some of my life experiences, what I've been through, what things that I've been through in my life, and how I can help inspire you a little bit each and every week to keep pushing forward through trials and tribulations that come to all of us in every walk of life. We started this show almost 5 seasons ago, and been able to share each week a little bit about my life and especially what God has been able to do in my life and bring me all the way to this point where I'm in my 40s, which we never thought was possible. Growing up, being born and living my life and the disabilities and things that I had to overcome from the time I was born, doctors thought that, hey, this guy is never going to be able to do anything. Well, here I am, and here I am on television and cooking a little bit. I'm by no means a professional cook, as you can see. Sometimes I have no idea what I'm doing, but it's something that I really enjoy. And hopefully you can take something away from the show each week, either by what I'm saying, by what God has done in my life, or by maybe you just enjoy hearing my story or hearing how I cook or what the recipe may be for that week. But I hope each week you're able to take something away from this show. And that's really what my hope is in the whole thing, is to be able to show people that, yes, I can do things. Yes, you can do things. But most importantly, God can do things, and what God can do in your life and what God has done in my life. Every life that God is a part of, it's important to us to share our testimony with others, to show others who God is through what he's done in our life. Not so much what I've done or what I can do, but the opportunity that God has given me and how I can share that with others so people look at me and see who God is and what God can do in their life. That is the whole focus of my life. That's the focus of this show. And so I hope that that each week you can take something from that. And by all means, I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a pastor. I don't lead a church. I don't want to lead any groups of anything because I fall and stumble in life all the time. But I get through things, and God never left me. God is with me each and every day, and that's how I live my whole life. So I just kind of want to get into all that with you a little bit today. We'll share with, like I said, each week I'll share a little bit more what God is doing and what God has done. But this first week, I kind of want to just introduce myself, to share with you who I am and where I came from, how I got to this point. Many of you have seen me for the first time, and I'm encouraged that you're here to listen and watch this show. I am Dano Burkhart, like I said. You may look at me and say, who is this guy? What happened to him? How did he end up in this wheelchair? And where the heck are his legs at? What happened to him? I do not have some crazy story of a crazy accident or a shark attack or an alligator attack or anything like that. My story is actually pretty boring, but it is pretty powerful. And that's really what I want to share with you. I was born in the early 80s to my parents, Dennis and Cindy Burkhart. I was born out in the great state of Oregon, and I was born in Portland, Oregon. And, being born, my parents had no idea that I was going to have anything wrong with me, that my mom's pregnancy was completely normal. Had no inkling that anything was wrong until I was actually born. And when I was born, the doctors looked, of course, and were shocked to see what was wrong, what was going on. Of course, my parents were in shock as well. But I was born with a disability called spina bifida, and a form of that called caudal dysplasia, which is the lower half of my leg part was smaller, was completely grown, but was smaller than what you would say a normal leg should look like. And also my spine was only half grown. So I was missing a section of my spine. Most people that have spina bifida, they will develop a sac of spinal fluid that grows on their spine. It can be very painful, can be very debilitating. Mine was, thank goodness, was all more orthopedic related. My spine, the actual bone, did not grow properly. And of course, my legs did not develop completely. So that was a shock to my parents, of course. I didn't know anything. I was just an infant, had no idea my life was going to be different in the trajectory that it was going to go on. But my parents kind of took me home and raised me like my other two siblings. I have two older brothers, Luke and Alan. Luke is 2 years older than me. Alan is 6 years older than me. They both fortunately live down south in South Carolina and in Florida. And I am here in central Pennsylvania. But we have a very close relationship, a very close bond. Grew up being like any other brothers. And that's how my parents really treated us, is that I was like anybody else, that I was going to be thrown around and pushed around by my brothers. I was going to do chores. I was going to do anything that they could do. And that was really where my parents really started and how I was going to develop my attitude in life, that I was not going to have limits. The limits that I had in life were going to be ones that I put on myself. and they weren't going to be ones that other people put on me, including my parents. That was a foundational thing that was so important in developing who I am today. And I see that a lot. Parents can be kind of overshadowing, overprotective, and I get that. I understand that. But, kids really, they will tell you what they can and cannot do, and I think it's so important for a child to develop their limits on their own, and that's basically what I did. I learned to adapt to my situation, not being able to walk. I crawled pretty much everywhere that I went. I learned how to climb by myself. I would climb onto chairs, onto counters, onto from the ground onto the toilet seat, onto the counter. I would climb on stools, one lower stool to a higher stool to get up on the counter, to get into the cupboards. I was kind of everywhere. My mom would refer to me as her countertop model. I was the smallest version of my older brothers, and but that did not limit me to anything. And really that was, like I said, the foundation of who I am today, that I will try anything once. If it's food or if it's an activity, being in a wheelchair, there's definitely limits to things that you can do. But I will definitely try my hardest to be everywhere and do everything that I can. And that's kind of what I want to start with today, is kind of, where you are in your life. Maybe you're sitting at home and you think you can't do things because now you're a little bit older, or there's an ailment in your life that's hindering you. I want to encourage you today that to give it all you got. Give it the best that you can. My attitude has never been a woe is me attitude. I try to have a smile on my face each and every day, because that gets you nowhere. If you sit there and think about the problems that you have in your life, those problems will just take over, and you will just end up on the couch, not doing anything. So my encouragement is, no matter what you're dealt with today in your life that you think is overwhelming, that you can't get through, I want to encourage you today to first give it to God. Let God take control of your life in that problem. Your answer may not come today, but I can assure you it will come. God will never leave you, and He is there to walk through whatever you have going on each and every day to help you get through that. That's how I live my life, and I hope this has been an encouragement to you today to always push forward. Don't put limits on you. Don't let others put limits on you. Trust God, and you can do amazing things. So let's head back into the kitchen and let's try some amazing food. Hey everybody, welcome to the dining room. I'm sitting here with Jackson and Troy. We had my first from scratch chocolate cake. So guys, dive in. Let me know what you think.
I'll warn you, I'm not a chocolate cake person.
Oh, great.
So.
There we go.
Very moist.
Yeah,
Actually, the icing's good.
Icing's good.
it's really good.
It is good.
All right.
I could eat this, even
Yeah.
though I don't like chocolate cake. This is,
Very soft.
yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys try this at home. Never made one. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much for watching this week's episode. We'll see you next week on Dano on the Counter.